Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Hokyoji Sunday morning Dharma talk. I'm pleased to introduce Shodo Spring, a longtime friend of mine. And she's a Dharma heir of Shohaku Okumura. Her first teacher was Katagiri Roshi. Shodo's practice focuses on our relationship with all sentient beings through an organization called Mountains and Rivers Alliance. In 1988, she spent a year at Hokyoji with the trees and the hills in daily practice. Thank you for that, Shodo. And in 2013, she walked across the Great Plains in the Compassionate Earth Walk. She is working on her second book. So thank you so much for joining us today, Shodo, and we look forward to hearing what you have to say. Thank you. You might be muted.
Thank you, Dokai.
You're welcome.
Now I can see. I thought this morning I would say some words relating to some things that Dogen wrote in 1242. Called Body and Mind Study of the Way. Now, his fascicles are so rich that I would never try to discuss the whole thing. I have perhaps a paragraph that I'm going to read, make comments on, and then leave plenty of time for discussion. It's a pleasure to be here. I see some people I've known for a very long time. To study the way with body means to study the way with your own body. It is the study of the way using this lump of red flesh. The body comes forth from the study of the way. Everything that comes forth from the study of the way is the true human body. The entire world of the 10 directions, nothing but the human body. The coming and going of birth and death is the true human body. To turn this body around, abandoning the 10 unwholesome actions, keeping the 8 precepts, taking refuge and leaving home and entering the homeless life, is the true study of the world. For this reason, it is called the true human body. So a few words. The word study, the character that we translate as study, is made up, includes a picture of bird wings. And the image for this word study is the image of a baby bird learning to fly, taught by its mother, falling again and again, being picked up, trying again, and gradually learning to fly. I once watched a baby seal swim, and it took a while to figure out what was going on. But the baby in the water, and then would be up on its mother's back, and then the down, and the baby was in the water, kind of floundering, and then the mother picked it up again, and then released it into the water again until eventually learned swimming motions. Our study is like this, especially when we learn something new, but also at any time. It's like we have to find out how to do it. And find out with me, not just intellectually, not just by hearing about it, but by actually doing it again and again with support. You study the way with your own body. You study the way with this lump of red flesh. And that's so evocative. If we cut this body, it will bleed and it will be red. Inside this lump of red flesh, there is water, more microbes than there are cells. A whole, more than a village, a whole city lives in of many, many kinds of beings, and yet somehow it's together and is called this person or this self or the body. But then he says, the body comes forth from the study of the way. Everything that comes forth from the study of the way is the true human body. So you study the way with your body, your flesh. Become yourself. You become not just a lump of flesh, but a living being. You participate, you move, things move you. You are created. And you create every instant, every moment. The entire world of the 10 directions is nothing but the true human body. And the coming and going of birth and death is the true human body. So our body is more than the lump of red flesh. Studying the way, everything that is created by studying the true human body. And so, body and your body includes, this cushion and these clothes and these walls, lots of walls in different places today, and these little machines that we use to talk to each other at a distance. It's kind of amazing that we not only do this, but we take it for granted. And the trees and the river. And right here, we had pounding rain for a good part of the night. So there's water everywhere, green leaves, rabbits and squirrels, pocket gophers, pine trees, quackgrass, tomatoes, stars, everything. Everything is the true human body. And then I want to add the thing that's harder to think about. And I want to read some words that were spoken by a world leader recently. The body also includes public life. It includes wars. It includes political arguments. It includes hunger and drought. All the climate change things. It includes rebellions. It includes babies, marriages, deaths. So there are a lot of things in this body that we don't care for so much. We'd kind of rather to just stick to trees and maybe the rabbits and the tomatoes. A somewhat amazing thing happened this week. A leader, Emmanuel Macron, said some words that I ignore. He spoke about the entire world of the 10 directions. Bits of what he said, because that's not how maybe we want to spend all our time. He said, I believe that what we're going through is a great upheaval, a radical change. In the first place, because we are experiencing what could be seen as the end of perpetually available products and technologies, the interruption of value chains. Scarcity of one material technology or another reappearing. We hear them in the news. Maybe they impact us directly, maybe they don't. The end of an abundance of land or raw materials and water as well. This is an announcement. We live in a finite world and we've overshot. And our technologies aren't even necessarily enough to counteract the fact that we live in a finite world and there are really, really a lot of us. In saying this, it seems like he broke the rule of political discourse. For over 100 years, the public understanding has been we can do whatever we want with technology. And sometimes there's a new age flavor where we can do whatever we want if we think the right thoughts. And fossil fuels are a big thing that made it to do that. And now we're in a time when people are struggling either to access more of them or to replace them with something else. The fact that we're dependent on the natural world is in our faces right now. Oh, I don't want to read the rest of the things, but I'll do this. If people thought that democracy and human rights were the theological pillar of the international order, recent years have destroyed some of the evidence for this. And then he mentioned that it's 6 months since war returned to Europe. And people in Europe have a different life than people in America. People in other places in the world never stopped living with that, West Sahara, Palestine, and so forth. Afghanistan. So some of us were able to imagine peace and to experience it on a day-to-day basis. And because a white country is at war with another white European country, we're noticing it. And that sense of safety and the ability to relax is gone. Then, of course, he says, in the same way, the climate crisis, with all its consequences, perceived, and the new risks are also appearing these days. Risks. A future for as long as humans have lived on Earth, most of us have been able to imagine a future. There was a little challenge when war showed up, which was in my generation. The climate change. Reasonable expectation will continue. And then he says, we're going to shift. And then he says, interestingly, our compatriots react with great uneasiness. What a kind way to say everyone is freaked out at each other and sometimes beating each other, shooting each other. Great uneasiness. And so then he says, we have some duties The first is to call things by their name, very clearly catastrophism. Right speech, he names duty. What Dogen says is to turn this body around, abandoning the 10 unwholesome actions, keeping the 8 precepts, taking refuge in the 3 treasures, leaving home and entering the homeless life, is the true study of the way. For this reason, called the true human body. Now, I will mention frequently praises monastic life, and he does so speaking to monks. He praises poverty, which is a condition they didn't have much choice about. And so I will think of these words as encouragement to people who are in that way. He never lectures lay people that they should leave home, but he persistently encourages monks and nuns, saying, this is it. This is where the action is. So, to turn this body around, abandon the 10 unwholesome actions. So I have these up to me, right? But they are killing living beings, stealing, sexual misconduct, false speech, malicious speech. 3 of them are speech. 4 of them are speech. Coveting, ill will, and wrong views. Keep the 8 precepts. And again, only 8. Avoid killing directly or indirectly. Avoid stealing. Don't take what is not given. Avoid sexual contact. Again, monastics. Avoid lying and deceiving others. Avoid intoxicants, alcohol, tobacco, and drugs. Avoid eating more than 1 meal per day. It's interesting. It's said to be the best for health. And that's what Buddha told his disciples, to eat 1 meal a day. It's also convenient when your food comes from begging. You don't bother people so often, just once. Avoid sitting on a high, expensive bed with pride. Also avoid sitting on animal skins. Avoid wearing jewelry, perfume, and makeup. Avoid singing, dancing, playing music, attachment. And I kind of wonder who added attachment, because I remember traveling with a nun in Korea. She had the 300 some precepts, and she was not supposed to be present. And we were having a great time doing karaoke, singing and dancing a little bit. And she was just like, look the other way. So here it says, with attachment. No. But a lot of specific guidance for how. And sometimes we need specific guidelines, especially in a consumer culture. The rules are accumulate as much stuff as possible. Kill whatever gets in your way, and so forth. And then he says, taking refuge in the 3 treasures, leaving home and entering the homeless life. 3 are Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And once the Buddha said to one of his disciples said, "Oh, Master, truly the Sangha is half of the holy life." And the Buddha said, don't say that, don't say that. Sangha is the whole of the holy life. Just get your body here and stay here. Buddha means awake. He named himself for a state of being awake. And refuge to some extent in that person, and to more extent in the state of being awake. And dharma is the teaching. And everything teaches us. The words by ancient words written and spoken by modern teachers, and the words spoken by the river and the mountains. And the home that we really need to leave is the home in a way of life that is based on selfishness, centered around me, or maybe around me and my family, or me and a few people. We see now people are being open with it in a way they haven't been for maybe 100 years. People are people again. It's like, let's protect ourselves. And it's sort of horrifying. And we live in this world. I just stopped by saying that. We live in this world. We don't live in a different world. There is not a different world for us to wish to live in. What we wish is to be able to be fully present in this world, embrace it. We don't wish to go somewhere else. Well, sometimes we do. But the practice is to come back again, being right here. And so Macron said, call things by their names, clearly. Roshi said, well, it matters what we do. Okumura Roshi said, our life is a result from people and things from the past. What we do now influences later generations, positively or negatively. There is nothing that is a resource. There is nothing that is. It doesn't matter how noble our wish to use resources. Nothing is a resource. Everything is a being. We are in relationship. And that is the only way to live. And that's like, edge of the cliff. What do we do here? I think it's my stopping place. Questions, comments. Was much or not enough? This, I pay a lot of attention to the world around me. And I go, okay, how are we going to meet this? And I'm recently trying to go more deeply the basis of the teachings. So, but then I'm back again. I live in this world. So I have a poem, but I'd like to read it at the end. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Susan.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's so good to be here with you. I'm here at Hokyoji cooking for outside retreat of people who are doing Tai Chi and yoga. And it's been wonderful to cook for them. And it's raining here like every place else. I'm here with my buddy. So you've been speaking a lot about the world being a horrifying place and this and that. And I think it's important to remember when horrifying is raising up, there's also quite wonderful things happening. I think that there's many people who are waking up to what's going on and wanting to make a difference and collectively starting to make a difference to answer the yin of the yang or the yang of the yin, so that so many people are not standing for it or are not sitting down, but they are standing for it. And they're taking notice of what's happening. I mean, even like I was listening yesterday or watching about how almost all the car companies are now ready to just be making electric vehicles by the mid 2030s or 40s, and California is leading the way. And so there are some things happening, and people just trying to do the right thing alongside all the people who are not. But I think that it's not one way or the other. And so, being the optimist I am, I needed to express that. And so I know that Hojo-san, talks about taking one step off the 100-foot high pole. And I think I've seen him comment that it's easy to get up on top of the pole, but how to get down again is the quandary people have.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much.
To land, get back on your 2 feet on the ground.
Yes. So what's lovely is for doing those things. I am personally full of wonder at the liveliness of all the people who are blessing the planet, who are learning interdependence, who are listening to indigenous people and abandoning, what word should I say, industrial capitalism or something like that, or who are going in that direction. And I have also, but it's like sometimes I get tired of talking about that, and so I came to this point. I went, well, maybe I'll just stop there. We have a lot of instructions. So I just read them and I didn't talk a lot about them. But I'm encouraged about the understandings that are appearing in this time. And I've been reading a lot because I'm in a book, and I'm really excited about the awarenesses that are showing up in the public place.
What is the subject of your book that you're writing?
The subject, I'm struggling with talking about this. The subject is, let's say, addressing climate change and collapse as the Earth, from our place as the Earth, instead of from our place of the earth. I've learned a lot of nice things about human beings throughout history in the researching.
Reading it.
I
look forward to reading it.
Yes, thank you. I look forward to having it out there. Let me mention, so if you wanted to look up online, you have to look for Mountains and Waters Alliance. Everyone goes mountains and rivers, but that name is taken by others. And I do have a place up here just an hour south of the cities. And I'm open house and a sushin late in September. And that's the advertising. I finished with a poetic reading, but I don't want to override thoughts that anybody might have. Okay, this is from David Abram. So many people of this world as unreal, as secondary, as something of control. We're all suffering from a confusion of worlds. Since we've given far more weight to abstractions, whether the abstract truths propounded by our scientific colleagues, or the disembodied spiritual certainties propounded by many New Age teachings, than we do to the much more ambiguous, difficult, and dangerous experience face to face here and now in the flesh. The animate earth around us is far lovelier than any heaven we dream of. But if we wish to awaken to its richness, we'll need to give up our detached spectator perspective and the illusion of control it gives. It's a terrifying move for most over-civilized folks today. To renounce means noticing that we really are vulnerable to loss, disease, to death, yet also steadily vulnerable to wonder and unexpected joy. We can't master it, never have, never will. What we can do is participate deeply, respectfully, and creatively in the mental life of this breathing mystery we're a part of. So he writes wonderful words. When I said there's no place else to go, I didn't only mean the bad things. Beautiful things are right here as well. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Shodo, for your talk. Look forward to hearing what you have to say. Next week's speaker is myself. And I'm quite certain I'll be talking from a Thich Nhat Hanh book called, I think it's called Path of Emancipation. We have a retreat beginning on Monday evening, tomorrow evening, with Compassion Ocean, and it will run for 8 days, ending on Labor Day. I do believe they would be open to partial participation. So if you're interested in joining part of that, you can contact their Zen Center and talk it over with them. Then I want to talk for a minute about the week after September 11th. That's the weekend that MZMC is having the 50th anniversary of MZMC, the founding of MZMC. And we've decided to not have a Hokyoji talk that day because a lot of us are going to be up there. And I also don't want to invite a speaker where nobody comes. So we're going to invite you all to turn into what's happening at MZMC on September 11th. And we'll figure out a way to recommunicate that with you, and I'll communicate it again next week. And in the meantime, we'll probably find a link for you to go to participate in that. I think that's my idea, but I have to talk to the tech people about doing that. So like I mentioned, Compassionate Ocean begins tomorrow and ends on Labor Day, and the MZMC retreat starts September 20th, and you would need to contact them to participate in that retreat. I know they call it a contemporary retreat in which they relinquish some of the Zen formalities.
And I know that Tedo Tool and Ikkyo will be leading that retreat.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay, thank you. And your donations are always appreciated. That's more than half of what sustains Hokyoji. And of course, please like us on social media platforms. And with that in mind, why don't we close with the 4 vowels? Beings are
eternalness.
I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to realize it.
Thank you again, Shodo, and please, everyone, have a wonderful day, week,